Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hey
Welcome
guys.
to A Pinch of Bliss TV. Let's go.
Woo!
Let me tell you. Now, I'm not going to do the introduction, but I got to tell you, I'm excited about this one, y'all. We have a legend. We have a GOAT, greatest of all time. We
Bet.
have one of the baddest queens, Dutchesses in the industry.
The
Come
Dutchess.
on, the Thee, Dutchess. You hear me? And she has allotted some of her valuable time to be on here with us. And we are so excited to share her story with you all. We are so excited to learn more about her. And if you don't know who we are, we just want to say welcome. We are a Pinch of Bliss TV. I am Chef Brittany, also known as your Chef Sis. And we have Chef BC, also known as Chef Mama. And we are here to educate and elevate and motivate, okay? And so, without further ado, I'm going to let Chef Mama introduce our speaker of the hour, who we will be interviewing tonight. I want to see y'all in the chat. I want to see what y'all talking about.
Absolutely. So, guys, I have the pleasure of having my very first mentor in the culinary world come on and, as Brittany said, give us our time tonight. She is actually international. So she goes across the pond.
Come on.
And she's in the US. She has a long list of notable A-listers,
Period.
and she offers the creme de la creme, and I'd like to call it, as she says, silver spoon service.
Come on.
And some of just a little touch of some of her notoriety and some of her notables. She has clients in the NFL, the WNBA. She's catered for Kelsey Sibo, Clinic Health Summit of Houston. She has the Herman Memorial Sickle Cell Foundation of Houston, Texas Southern Women Basketball. This is just a few people, just a few. If you could just see the list that she has. She has the Fuller's Group, Baytown Chamber of Commerce.
Come on here.
City of Chicago Alderman, the BASF, National Orwell, Varco, Music World, NASA Women of Profession in Cleveland, Ohio, Tom Joyner Foundation, Drake,
Whoop, whoop.
Drake, All-Star Weekend Dallas, JaVale McGee, NBA, and she has Frontier Airlines. She also has some tenure with the Lamborghini of Dallas, Floyd Mayweather Art for Autism, Sickle Cell Foundation, the Gaiety, I might not be pronouncing it right, she'll correct me. The Gate Art Gallery, Million Man Houston, and Stedman Graham. And that, listen, I just kind of picked some out, but
Yes.
this list is on fire as it is.
Yes.
About 15 years ago, how old is Bliss? 15?
Bliss is 15.
So 15 years ago, 14
Yes.
years ago, 15
Yes.
years ago, we were trying to merge into the catering profession.
Yes.
Chef Lindsay had already been doing it probably 10 years before we started. I'll have to ask her exactly how many years.
Right.
Didn't know how to price. Didn't know the best way to set up. Hadn't
Talk
been
about
to
it.
culinary school yet.
Talk about it.
So I reached out to the best. Mind you, we are from the same city. We went to the same high school.
Whoop,
The
whoop.
way she was then was above board, shoot straight from the hip. She had leadership positions in high school. So you already know she was going to go on to be great and be her own boss.
Period.
Be her own boss. My nickname for her is Boss Lady. A lot of people call her the Dutchess, Chef Lindsay G. just to name a few of the names. Um, she, every time I would have a gig, I would call her. Every time I had a gig, I would call, Chef, what should I do about this? What about that? Well, they want me to create the menu. What should I do? Mind you, she would be working at the same time where she was getting me together. Now, listen, the flip side to having a mentor, you have to be able to take constructive criticism.
That's the
and
part.
feedback.
That's the part. That's
And
the
if
part.
you want to be a fourth of great as your mentor, you have to be able to sit at their feet and listen.
Yes.
And when she
yes.
would come in town to Atlanta to service some of the athletes and the artists here, she would allow me to sit at her feet among some of her other
Y'all gotta
chefs.
know that's rare. Those of you who are getting into the industry, you gotta know that's rare.
And I would get to sit at the table with her and other professionals as they talked and chopped it up. And she would allow me to come. And she didn't have to do that.
That's right.
But
that's
she would
right.
cut out a piece of time for me when she come to Georgia.
That's right.
So without further ado, I want to bring the legend to the screen.
Come on.
Everybody meet my first mentor and the queen of culinary, the queen of Houston and abroad, Chef Lindsay G.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
Ow! Ow!
Hello. Hi.
Welcome, 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 Chef Lindsay. Again, it is a privilege and an honor to have you on A Pinch of Bliss TV. These people that are watching have no idea what an honor it is to have you before them. I literally have chills. My hairs are standing up because you are one of the greats in the industry. And just to be able to ask you questions, because that's rare. A lot of chefs, especially executive chefs of your caliber, don't really allow for interviews like
She's
that.
very proud.
So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Thank you. It is an honor to be here. I feel so privileged. So thank you guys.
Oh my God.
I
We
have
are so
goosebumps.
excited. Yes. So we are going to jump right in. I know that Mom shared with the people who you are from her perspective, but we know that's only a snippet. Would you please tell us and those who are meeting you the first time who you are?
Well, I am Chef Lindsay, the Dutchess.
Period.
Um, I started out. My story is a very very old story. I started out cooking when I was maybe about 12. And I guess I learned this term when I moved to Houston. We were latchkey kids, and my mom, my dad, they separated. We moved back to Shreveport, Louisiana, the boot,
Woo!
and the boot. And so it was sandwiches and cereal every day. And my aunt was always the person who would cook. My mother, believe it or not, never could cook. She made something, but it was doable. Either what they tell you when you're young, either you eat it or you're hungry.
Come
And
on.
so, with my sister and I being 7 years apart, just one day I woke up, called my aunt, and said, "Hey, I'm tired of eating these sandwiches. I'm tired of eating cereal. I want to cook some chicken." And my aunt, I hate to say this, she's gonna kill me. She calls me Net, and she drags when she talks. So she was just like, "Net, I'm gonna tell you how to cook this chicken, but if you burn the house down, you never talk to me. You never talk to me."
From your mom.
Right. And so she kind of laid it out for me and gave me a foundation of, how to cook things. And first things first, don't turn the heat up so high because just because it's brown doesn't mean it's done. And I struggled as a kid with my level of sodium. But I appreciated the look on my mother's face when she saw that I was making the effort to make a meal. And that kind of lasted with me for a long time. I thought about the quality time that we had with my mom, where she wouldn't have to rush home from work and try to prepare a meal for us. And then also, she's tired, but try to prepare a meal and also spend that quality time for us. And so that took away, that gave us 2 hours to get more time with our mom and give her an opportunity to get rest. And
Wow.
from there, I just always cooked, even in high school. I played basketball. I ran track. I was in the band, drum majorette on the
Yes.
Fair Park High School. Let me be clear, Shreveport, Louisiana. Fair Park Marching Band, DPO, Discipline Pride Organization.
Ow!
And so before games, I would always invite some of the guys because I kind of always bonded with the guys. Instead of going to McDonald's like we used to, hey, come over to my house. And I take something out and we just cook. And then I did it in college, cook for my students.
Yes.
Once I finished college, I moved to Houston. I have the gift of gab, so I talk a lot. And I started out working at a club. And from before I knew it, I was working at this club and I started meeting all these NBA, NFL players. And I'm just kind of starstruck that they really wanted to talk to me. And I got in a situation where I was able to hang out with these guys. I kind of molded myself as a personal assistant. Maybe they'll never hear this interview, but I was never a personal assistant. I Googled to see what they do,
Come on.
figured out what they do. I got in that inner circle. And once I got in that inner circle, it allowed me the opportunity to show them what I do. They were more than just my clients, they were my friends and family. And I was able to cook for them. And my very first start, my first business, I'll get into that. But I remember Steve Francis, one of my clients, one of my friends, my brother. He was doing a charity event and he was like, hey, I need you to find somebody to cater the food for the charity event. And I'm just like, they're always hiring these people and I'm paying these people. I want to do it myself. So
Come
I
on.
decided I was going to do all the food, get it together, set it up, because they never show up until it's time to be seen. And I remember Steve asking me, who do we write the check out to? At that point, I hadn't thought it out. I really hadn't thought that out. And off the top of my head, I said Silver Spoons Catering. So that
Wow.
was the name of my first business. If you remember the show a long time ago, Silver Spoons, I know
Yes.
you don't remember it, Bridget, but Silver Spoons, and I just said Silver Spoons Catering. And later on, as I started to kind of develop in my craft, I did a lot of trial and error, and I ended up deciding I wanted to brand. And so that's how we came with Lindsay Caters and Company. But my guys, I had for like 3 years of me doing catering events for them. They ended up doing a three-way trade here in Houston. And at that point, my son was like 11 or 12. And I did not want to go to Orlando. I did not want to go to Miami. I wanted to still kind of stay close to home. And I didn't want to, move my son. And so they asked me, what did I want to do, as far as severance package was. And at that point, I said, I'd like to go to culinary school. And it allowed me an opportunity to elevate my craft. It really allowed me, because nobody ever asked me, do you have a degree? What do you do every day, all day, other than wait on us, go pick up suits, go, pick up cars, make sure the house is in good standing, make sure that this vendor is paid. No one ever asked me what I did on a daily basis. And so from that point, when I told them I wanted to go to culinary school, they were like, you mean to tell me you've been doing all this and you've never gone to school? And I'm like, nope.
Wow. Gifting.
Right.
So
Now,
I used to just watch. I would cook and I would just watch what other people did. I would read recipes. At the time, the person that moved me was, come on, chef. What's the chef from New Orleans?
Emerald.
Emerald. There it is.
Legacy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that was because at that time when Food Network was trying to get on the map, Emerald was the closest thing that I could identify with.
Yes.
Most chefs that I saw back then were just salt, pepper, and just some fresh seasonings. That's it. I
Come
could not
on.
identify with anything else other than Emerald. And I just started just kind of like creating things based upon what I saw. I put my own spin on it. And I just told myself, I know this tastes good. And back to Bridget, I was doing the same thing that she was doing. I knew I could cook. But then
Yes.
at that point, why would people hire me if I'm not giving them something to look at? Why am I not giving them something impressive? And at that point, I just started being mesmerized by the pages of different food magazines and just
Mm.
the simple things. A piece of parsley here, a bay leaf there, some basil here and there, a sprinkle of smoked paprika. The difference between smoked paprika and regular paprika, making
Come
all of
on
the.
here.
And so at that point, when I just started taking my time, I realized that this was my true calling because there were times as a kid, I remember I used to write poetry and things would come to me in my sleep. And I would just wake up. My mom put a tablet at the end of my bed and I would get up and just write. Well, when I became started to evolve, I ended up waking up in the middle of the night. All I thought about was food. And I would just start writing recipes, writing, maybe this tastes good with that. Maybe this tastes good with this. And I just started pairing things. And that also, even though I worked at the club, I also took that into bartending because as a bartender, I was never trained as a bartender. I kind of shimmied my way into that.
Come
Um,
on.
the, the girl was like, "You've never bartended?" I was like, "No." She's like, "But everybody keeps coming to you." All it was the same concept with the food. Once I sat down and started tasting the different liquors, the different bourbons, gin, the vodka, the tequilas, and I started pairing them with the liqueurs and whatnot, at that I just started creating drinks.
Come
And
on.
I just took that over into the culinary world, just pairing different foods, things that we never thought about trying as kids. Like, who ever heard of tartar as a kid, you know?
Right. Right.
So, the correct way to eat a steak. In my life, steak was well done. It was dead and deceased.
Come on. Come
So
on.
it just opened my eyes up to new things. And again, a lot of that was just your upbringing. My mom was never an oyster eater. It's not done. She was never into octopus or anything like that. And it was
Yes.
just a matter of just being creative and opening your eyes and experiencing new things.
Right, right.
Come on here.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is. Now, let me ask you this because you mentioned in the unfolding of your story that as a part of your severance package, you decided to go to culinary school. Now, Chef Mama and I, we've had a debate on our channel before, and I would like to ask you this question. Do you
Okay.
believe that culinary school is necessary to be successful in this catering industry?
I do not.
Wow. Please tell us more.
Um, so I was already great, in my opinion. The only thing that going to culinary school did for me was allow me to understand temperature changes.
Yeah.
It allowed me to understand being sanitary. It allowed me to get the certificates that I needed to open up other doors. But it's not necessary to be great. As I stated before, I was catering for the NBA.
Yeah.
Sean Kemp picked me up. I went to Chicago. I worked for him. I did foundational work for them before I was even a chef. But
Wow.
if I wanted to do red carpet events or private events like hotels who ask for those documentations showing that you had completed that type of thing, then at that point, yeah, I figured out before I even went to culinary school how to price because at one point I was underbidding myself.
Yeah.
And I was underbidding myself because I wanted the business. But then I found myself like, okay, I'm walking away with pennies.
Come
But
on.
again, it goes back to what am I doing over the top to make people want to spend this kind of money on me?
That's good.
So again, that does not, especially in this day and age, YouTube is everything.
Come on.
I'm not a
YouTube
pastry chef,
universe.
but I can compete with a pastry chef.
Come on.
How you
I've
Come
doing?
on.
sat down and I've, gone through, I've just sat down and I've taken chocolate and made bowls and whatnot. I've made
Yes.
sculptures, just experimented because, I mean, it wasn't readily available back then because I think I had AOL. I think I had the dial up internet back
Me
then.
too.
So, right. So, um, but
Yes.
so, but there's I can honestly say I don't think that it would make or break you. If you want to open bigger doors, then yes. But also being a successful caterer or chef, you have to sit down and decide who you want to be in your profession. You
Mm,
want to sit down and think about how you want to separate yourself from other people in the industry. And in my experience, it is a male dominated it's male dominated,
come on.
and I just had to tell myself, like, I can compete with these guys. Like, most women are the ones that are cooking in the kitchen, and most of these men have learned from women.
Come
So, what
on.
do I have to do to define myself and show that I deserve to be standing up there on the top, right along with them, not if not above?
Come on here. Come
Oh,
on here.
cheers.
Come on. Come
Clink, clink,
on.
clink, clink, clink,
Come
clink, clink,
on.
clink.
Clink,
Come
clink, clink, clink,
on.
clink. Yeah,
And you
so no,
know,
it's not necessary. Like I said, it just depends on the doors you want to open up. What made me push myself to be better? Um, what is the chef's name? There was this chef. He used to always say, "I shoot onions." Actually, he was a cook, and he went on Master Chef. He was like 7'2". Unfortunately, he passed away.
mm,
But his favorite line was, "I shoot onions." And I used to just, some of the stuff that I used to think about putting together, I was like, that doesn't go together. But what took me over the top, this guy made a pecan pie with a bacon, graham cracker brown sugar bacon crust. And when I tell you that just took me out, I don't even like pecan pie, but he had me in the kitchen
come on.
making
Come on.
this. I wanted to taste it. That sweet and savory, I wanted to
Yes.
taste it. And it was absolutely amazing. So
Wow.
again, it's all about wanting to challenge yourself, willing to push the boundaries of your culinary talent. If you just want to do, because I know chefs who can't cook. I've actually hired a chef that cannot cook.
Come on. That's the
So
truth. Educated in all and still can't cook.
Keep
educated, knew
preaching.
everything, would wanted to tell me do this. I'm like, sir, you know everything by the book, but you can't cook. He
Ah,
had no creative genius. It was only everything that he had been taught. He was never willing to push the boundaries. And
come
I'm
on.
always willing to push the boundaries. Hence, I like to call my style of cooking Southern fusion. I like to
Love it.
take like my Southern roots and add different things to it. Like for instance, I do oxtails. I'm gonna do oxtail sliders, smoke them.
Mm,
I'm gonna do a cabbage or a slaw on top of it
yes.
with a garlic aioli. I'm gonna do some Dr. Pepper, apple, ancho, chili, braised short ribs. You
Mhm.
name it.
Right.
Take some catfish and take some cream cheese and spinach and some garlic and some shrimp and crawfish and add that all together, layer it up, top it on top, deep fried. Bam.
She was doing it before it became something on Insta. She was already doing
Right.
it.
Come on here. Come
So
on
I
here.
the people, the young people that I see on social media with the 200,000-300,000 followers, and I say all the time, if social media was as prevalent then as it is now, I'd have that many followers, but I don't need a following because I know what I do.
That's right.
You got the following in your bank account.
There it
Period.
is. There it is. I have nothing
Period.
to prove but to
I know
myself.
that's right.
Chef, that was Josh Marks.
Josh Marks, that's right. I just
Now let
remember
me,
him being 7'2".
Yes.
yeah. Now let me ask you this, Chef Lindsay.
Go right ahead.
Um, I would like for you to educate us on the difference between a cook and a chef,
Oh,
because we experience, and I think out of our naiveness when we first got into the business, we automatically thought that because we were cooking, that because we had a company, that we could become chef this and chef that. And you see that a lot with people who step on the scene, and they automatically title themselves chef so and so, chef who and who. And I would love for you to educate us watching.
wait, Chef, before you do that, wait 1 second. I'm going to have a moment of transparency. She got me together about that. I've never told you the story. So I was getting ready to maybe to do business cards or something like that. And I was saying I was going to, she said, you know, people out here trying to call themselves chef. She said, you got to earn that. She said, you cannot come out here calling yourself a chef. You are sadly mistaken. It takes work, and you need to get under somebody and you have to earn it.
Right,
She
right.
said, you're cooking now and you're a cook that caters.
Well, let's hear it straight from the Duchess mouth.
Well, yes, I get offended. I get deeply offended when people call themselves a chef because, in my opinion, if you're not, you can be the best cook ever, but it's like being a doctor. Like, yeah, you may have watched a bunch of Doogie Housers, but and probably can know everything that they do. But have you invested that time to be
Mm,
labeled that? Because I'm pretty sure, Bridget, even though you were cooking, there were so many things that you did not know
Oh my God.
once
Let's talk
you
about
got to school.
packaging.
I mean,
yeah,
you never knew about the master sauces.
come
You
on.
never knew about how breaking the sauces, none of that. You
None
didn't
of
know
it.
about precise cutting skills. You know, you cut a potato up, you just cut it up. You
Yeah,
didn't know that if you cut it unevenly, it cooks uneven, none of that.
come
So
on.
Oh,
it's so many things that I can list, but the difference between the two is putting in the time to actually call
Mm,
yourself a chef. So you can be the best cook ever, but cooks don't know all the minor details that come along with putting in that time to become a chef. You know,
yes.
growing up, I'm pretty sure everything was baked on 350. Everything was baked on 350. Never knew any difference. You hear a lot of people say, I don't like chicken breast because you're cooking it wrong.
Yeah, come on. Come on.
You're cooking it wrong. But again, that comes with putting in the time to make you the difference between a cook and a chef. You have to put in that time, many hours of training to, procure your craft. If you don't do that, you're just no more than just a home cook. Simple as
Right.
that.
That's
that's right.
good. That's really good. And I think, we had to learn that as well because, even though mom went for the culinary side, I went for the patisserie side. And baby, it's different than putting a pound cake in the oven. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right. Hence the reason why I am not a pastry chef. It is a little too precise for me
I wouldn't wish
Oh,
that on my worst
at
enemy.
all. That's recreational activity for me.
oh. But I would love to hear from you, chef, on your favorite part of this industry. What do you love about this industry?
I love all the doors that it opens. I
Mm,
love the opportunity to meet so many people from so many different walks of life, and not just settling for what I know, which is Southern cooking. Um, and again, that goes back to educating yourself. Um, in the beginning, it was just all Southern cuisine. And
yes.
before I knew it, I opened my mind up to Mediterranean, Indian food, African food.
Mm,
Um, so when you open up those doors and oh my God, if I could show you my pantry right now, I have people who come to my house and they just be like, how many seasonings do you have?
come on.
And it's just
Come
like
on.
you just never know. Moroccan food. It's the opportunity when you meet so many different, because if you again, if you just keep yourself in a situation where you're just only cooking one style, you're never going to meet different people because you're only subjecting yourself to one style of food. So it
That's good.
goes further than just cooking. You got to be able to be open to different things in order to be able to meet different people in the industry. You don't want people to meet you and say, well, I mean, I'm Indian and she can't cook this food, or she
Yeah.
knows nothing about my culture. And I took it upon myself to learn about different cultures. I just did some igusu. Um, my son,
Ooh.
my son has some classmates that are African, and they would always say, "Hey, I wish you could cook this, this, and this." And one day I was like, "Let me just try." And I Googled several recipes, like I do some other recipes,
Yes.
um, and I pick apart the recipe. I might take about 5 or 6 and pick it apart and then put it together. And so I had them come over. Hey guys, just tell me if it's good or not. If it's not, and I'm just listening to one of my son's friends, Sandra, say, "Mama Lindsay, you sure ain't no African person up in you?" And I'm like, "What?" She said, "This is so
That is the
good."
highest
Come
compliment.
on.
She's like, "This is so, are you serious?" Like, I never knew about what is it, palm oil,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I used to, my first restaurant, I used to sublease from an African family, and I had an overnight restaurant. I took from the book of Freeman and Harris.
Mhm.
Come
Freeman
on.
and Harris used to be the late night
Yeah.
after the club. You can get a meal, so they closed at 9. So I took it from 10 to 5 a.m. and the smell would drive me crazy. And I never understood. I was like, oh, they just nasty. But then once I started to divulge into different flavors and seasonings, and then
Mm,
that's when I started to realize, oh, that's what that is. Okay, they not nasty.
mm. But that's good. That's
Yes, yes, it is.
good.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Wow.
That was a nugget.
That is a nugget. That is a nugget. Chef, there are so many young people, up and coming cooks, chefs, caterers who want to break into this industry. What is one mistake that you see a lot of newbies doing? What
trying to
is
run
something
before they
that you
walk.
say that again?
Trying to run before they walk.
Thanks
Please
for the interview. Goodbye. No.
tell us more. Tell us more. What is
Um,
that?
so you see all these things that everybody else is doing, and you're trying to do or imitate what you see everybody else is doing, but create something that makes people want to mock and imitate what you do.
Mm,
So you're trying to be Chef Emerald, you're trying to be Guy Fieri,
come
you're
on.
trying to be all these different people before you even find who you are as a chef.
That's good.
That's good.
That's good. It's interesting because, a lot of people, they look on TikTok or they look on Instagram and they see all of this food, you know what I'm saying?
Pinterest
Pinterest.
get you in
And a
trouble.
lot of them, just go out there. And I've seen people who ain't never had a safe serve training. They don't know how, like you were speaking of earlier, proper temperature settings. And I mean, they have it looking pretty, but
Right,
is it safe?
Is
right,
it cross
right.
contamination?
Oh,
I,
come
I
that
just
part.
I just had this conversation. So they have this thing here in Houston. It's no secret. I'm a big cigar smoker, and they
Yes.
have this thing called the Houston Cigar Week that they do every year. And I had a group reach out to me who wanted me to cater at the Omni. They do a brunch every year for the ladies and massages.
Ooh.
And so they had 100 and I think 125 or something like that. So they're trying to cut costs. And so I'm telling them, they're showing me where I'm going to set up at. And I'm telling them, I'm like, well, for what you're asking me to do, a charcuterie board and, the shrimp and grits and all this stuff, I said, you have these solar panels in here, and I'm not comfortable putting a charcuterie board down. I'd
Come
have to
on.
get ice a dry ice bath to put this on. And I'm like, how many hours do you plan on doing this? And she said, oh, probably about, they're going to come in randomly, probably about 6 hours. You can just leave it out. I said, no, the hell I can't.
Come on here.
What I said, ma'am, you're not at home. You can't just leave food sitting out for people to eat. And then somebody gets sick, and then the first thing you want to do is blame me.
Come on. Come
And I
on.
said, so I don't do lawsuits at all.
Come
And
on.
I'm in my 23rd, I'm sorry, my 23rd. I'm in my 19th year. Next year will be my 20th year doing this.
Wow.
And I'm just like, you have to understand, you're the Omni. You're the Omni. You are a branch of the Marriott. And they would sue me and sue you.
Come on
Even
here.
these people just sitting out here, and it's charcuterie boards are mostly pork anyway, outside of the
Yes.
fruit. And I'm like,
Yes.
the sausage is the pepperoni and salami and genoa is gonna turn oily. The cheese is gonna get soft. You do know that's a milk product. And once I broke that down, she was like, I never thought about it like that. I was like, yeah. I said, and so again, a lot of these people, they want to go and pretend to be these chefs,
Come
but
on.
they want to take pictures and show it off and then just let it sit out there. Because then I sometimes question when I see these setups on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and I see where they have all the fire and all this other good stuff.
Come
And I'm
on.
like, this is cold.
Come on. Come on. Come
I say it
on.
all the time. Like, I'm looking at this food sitting out like, chicken and waffles.
Come
And
on.
it's not sitting on
You
no.
don't have no heat
I
source.
said, this stuff is cold.
Ain't no heat lamp.
Who booking you?
Like, we're gonna put the stuff out. People be wanting that, and I'd be like, I can't set up and be ready. I can't set up and be ready.
Right.
You want me to be ready, and
Right.
you want me sitting out.
I mean, it'd be beautiful with the
It
dry
is beautiful.
ice. Because I just started, getting into the whole dry ice. I love it. But
Yes, me too.
yeah, I love it. I'm into all the bells and whistles, but I'm just like, okay, they got those waffles look so nice, but they cold.
Come
I know
on.
that chicken look nice. I see you pouring this sauce over this meat, but I give it 15 minutes. It's cold.
Come on. Come on.
It's just sitting there. So I'm thinking to myself, I swear, every time I see this, I think to myself, are they microwaving this food when they plate it?
Yes,
Because I know y'all not eating this cold
They are.
food.
They are.
Mm-mm.
They're microwaving it,
Mm-mm.
which is wild. It's wild.
Right. So, yeah. If I do anything like that, if I do appetizers that I do displays for, we'll do only so many of them, so you can grab them right then,
Yes.
and then we'll do some more because I cannot serve cold food. I just cannot.
we having heated lamps too.
Yes.
Stuff she have all.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
that's
so
big.
important.
That's big. That's really big. I love the new. I looked them up. I can't think of the name of them right now, but I do love the new the little burners that look like little fireplaces, fire pits or whatnot.
Yes.
But them shits is high. They like ain't there yet.
Oh, yes. But I see a lot of caterers coming in the industry who would rather put the presentation above the safety
Right.
of their clients.
You just said
Right.
something right there.
And
The average event is 4 hours.
average, yes.
The average event is 4 hours. So you just sitting that out there. We're not going to even include the time before it starts that you've set up the food.
Already held.
Don't let there not be an on-site kitchen. So that means you had to transport food and hold it at a certain temperature. So it's already holding en route.
Right. Hence, I had that happen to me. I did Lamborghini of Dallas, Art for Autism, 250 guests. And I literally I rented out a kitchen in Dallas, of course, transport, but I also had to create a kitchen on site.
But
That
see,
was a
I
lot
bet
of work.
it was it I bet they paid for that though, because I see a lot of clients who want that kind of
But they don't want
execution,
that
but they
Hmm.
diesel.
don't want that price point.
Right. So yeah, oh, they paid. Thank you, Lamborghini of Dallas.
Thank you for taking care of our chef Lindsay. Now let me ask you this: who is your ideal client?
Mm.
It perfect client. 10 out of 10.
I have to watch my mouth when I'm on live TV. So one that would just shut the up and let me do what I do. Trust, trust the
Well,
process. You hired me for a reason. So just shut it up. What I like to do, even my client Ken Harrison out of Phoenix booked me for an event, and I said to him, Ken, what is it that you want? And Ken said, you to be amazing and send me the bill. Create the menu, send it to me. At that point, um, it may be some things on there that I might want you to change or add, but I'm gonna trust you to create the menu. All I ask is that you make me look good. And so when I sent Ken the menu, Ken was like, man, half of this stuff on here I can't even pronounce, but it sounds like it's good as hell. Go right ahead. So
yes,
a
yes,
client that lets me do me based upon what you've heard, because you just didn't book me. You heard about me. So if you
yes.
heard about me, let me do what I do. I,
So
I, I will recognize, your dietary intake, and I'll
yes,
go from there.
yes. And I think that it seems like that this lady, we had the opportunity to cater for the Create conference, and one of the event planners, she said the cheapest seats complain the loudest, and it seems like the less a person pays, the more picky and verbal they are. Now, of course, I have met some, clients that paid a pretty penny and still were picky, but I mean, it seems like those who ain't got it complain the
Oh, most
loudest.
definitely. I have a lady right now who is getting married. She has 125 guests. And I'll let you talk, because now I'm letting you talk so I can figure out where your head is.
Yeah.
And the first thing she said was, I want to go with appetizers. And I'm holding the phone, I'm just smiling. And I said, oh, she cheap.
Come on.
And but I let her talk. And so I finally broke down. I said, nobody ever bothered to tell you that appetizers are going to cost you more than a meal.
That's what that means.
And she said, excuse me. I said, yeah. I said, because it's a presentation. I said, it's not that just because it's smaller doesn't make it less expensive. It's a
Ain't nothing
presentation. I have
expensive.
It's
to
still
sit down.
plated.
Right. I have to sit down, pick, choose the correct vessels to present it in. I've had my assistant who's been with me now for 11 years, I guess. And I'll never forget the first event he did with me. And by the way, Bridget, is the Guide Gallery. When you were trying to get the
Right.
words,
I was
it's the
saying,
Guide
Ah,
did
Gallery.
I call it
Guide
a
Gallery.
Giant?
Yeah.
I said she'll correct
So,
me.
we did some shrimp shooters, and I'll always plate first. I'll do three or four, and then I move on. Once I do three or four, this is how I want it. And I went back, and he just was putting the shrimp in the martini glasses. Everything's in a different direction, and I'm just like, no, it all has to be in the same direction. If you put a piece of basil on it, I need you to pick through the basil, make sure all the basil, if not the same size, close to
Come
the
on.
same size.
Come
Don't
on.
just randomly throw it in there. It's precise. So yeah, it's a presentation, so it's going to cost you more. And so she was like, wow, I never thought about it like that. So yeah, it's a presentation. I said, because when people are getting little amounts of food, you want them to walk up to your displays. I said, and then again, it's a display. I
Come
said, so
on.
we have to create the display before we put things on the display. And then we have to break the display down and we have to put everything around the display. You're talking risers, fresh flowers, the whole
Come
nine.
on.
If you're
Come
going
on.
to do chandeliers, whatnot, candelabras, it's a presentation. So again, my biggest thing is the people with the less money always has the biggest opinion on how they want things.
Yes.
Ma'am, you need to call Shanae and Shaquana and Aunt Bees for your catering. I
Yeah,
have
tell you
nothing
she
for
said
you.
that when people come to mind, we want meatballs, and she said,
I was
I'm
just
uh-uh.
not
about
gonna be
to
able to do it.
segue into that next.
Oh God, I had somebody ask
I
me.
was going
I had
there.
somebody ask me, could I do some rotel dip, some meatballs? What was it? Rotel dip, meatballs, and something else. I said, oh, you got the wrong person. I wasn't doing that when I wasn't doing that when I first started. Like, you
Come
need to call
on.
your auntie and them for that, not me.
Come
It'll be much
on.
cheaper because
Come
if
on.
I do meatballs, it
Right. If
ain't
I
no
do
just
meatballs, it's gonna be
meatballs.
some raspberry with some smoked chilies and whatnot. It's gonna be some lamb meatballs or some bison meatballs, but you're not gonna get that bag of frozen meatball with that grape
From
jelly and some
Sam's
barbecue
Club.
sauce.
And a splash of orange
And
juice.
right, right,
Pineapple.
right,
Pineapple.
right, right. Exactly.
Oh,
Right.
oh,
So
that's
I'm
so
sorry, I'm not gonna be able to pull out
funny.
that Velveeta cheese for you, ma'am. I can't
Oh,
do it.
I
oh,
told her about that. I did, and she
oh.
laughed. I said, "Let me tell you what." Cause when people call with stuff like that, I said, "Let me tell you what Chef Lindsay will tell
But
Sorry,
them."
ma'am,
you
you're
know
not the wrong
that's
person.
so true. I personally, like mom and I, see, thank God you are over your entire establishment. Mom and I are partners, so we go at it a lot, right? Because I'm
Oh,
so
you
over
said she's
weddings.
good.
I'm so over weddings. I said I don't ever want to do another wedding as long as I live. They give me headaches. They
Oh,
give
but you know what? It makes you better because when
yes.
my son, he's not a chef, but he can compete with the best. And I
Mm,
remember my son came home. He fell below average, and he came home one semester. I said, "Well, looks like you'll be working at the restaurant with me." And he was so in his feelings. I was like, "Look, you're a grown man, and unless you find you a job, you'll be working at the restaurant." And so I guess in my son's eyes, he was thinking to himself, like, I'm really working at a restaurant. And we had like a little mom and pop. I think, well, I did say that I was subleasing at the time. And
yes.
I used to make these waffles to go with my chicken and waffles. And
Yes.
I used to have like pearl sugar and whatnot in it. And one day my son decided he was gonna make the batter. And he said, Mom, I changed the batter. I want you to try this. I said, You did what? I changed the batter. I said, Let me tell you something, little such and such. I said, Do you know people come here just to get waffles? They'll come get 2 or 3 waffles and go home. You can't be changed, my mom. Just let me just taste it. And my son put in bourbon, a pinch of nutmeg, and he did orange zest. And
Mm.
it took everything in me to say
Wow.
that's pretty good.
Come on.
Pretty good.
Wow.
But
Chef,
again, no matter how high you get in your head, you have to be able to take constructive criticism. And I allow him. So moving forward with what I do now, the chefs that work under me, whenever I want to do a recipe or something like that, I'll always say, hey guys, try this. And if you
Yes.
don't like it, tell me what it is about it that you don't like or can make better. And even with this event that I did in Dallas, we did a 6-course meal. I put it
Mhm.
out there and I gave everybody an opportunity because we had like 8 months to prepare for this event. And I said, I'm going to let everybody choose their dish. I said, once
Mm.
you choose your dish, because again, I don't want the light to just be on me. It's my gig, but I don't want the light to just be on me. I want y'all to be able to shine as well.
Come
So
on.
take your dish that you choose, and I'll send each of you $100 so you can figure out what you want to do with that dish.
Come
I said, and
on.
then once you figure out what you want to do with that dish, we'll all get together and we'll sit down and we'll taste the dish before we present this dish. I want it to be above, over the top, everything. And I was so impressed with one of my chefs who's been fighting to be my assistant for years. He goes back and forth with my assistant. Brandon elevated this dish. He did a roasted chicken with a lemon beurre blanc sauce. He
Mm.
took lemon peel and um, he took lemon peel and toasted it with rosemary and sugar. It was absolutely amazing. I was like, I can kiss you in your hot mouth. It was everything. Sous vide, the chicken, it was everything. I was like, Brandon, that's what I'm talking about.
Come on.
I like to push my chefs to be better. And I tell them all the time, I'm waiting on a day where you book me. I want to
Mm.
work under you so
Mm.
I
Wow.
can see what I have taught you over the years. Book me. They have yet to do it, but book me.
Come on. Come on here.
That's
This
amazing.
is a perfect segue into our last question, chef. Those who are hungry to get in this industry, the upcoming, the newbies, they still got Similac behind their ears. Please, what advice would you give them coming into this industry in order to be successful?
Be hungry. Define who you are as a chef.
Mm.
Figure out what your style is. Don't be trying to be somebody else. Figure out what separates you from other chefs. Don't be afraid to imagine.
Mm.
My page says the Picasso of plates. Don't be afraid to
Mm.
create and stand out. Just stand out. Be different. Excuse me. Be different from other people. Don't be Chef Bridget. Don't be Chef BC.
Come on.
Be whoever you want to be to stand out amongst the best and demand the respect that you deserve. But the only way that you can demand the respect that you deserve is to put your time into it. Because my first restaurant, as mom and pop as it was, I walked away from a job that I had been on for 12 years. I
Wow.
spent more time at that restaurant than I did at the job.
Wow.
You only get out of it what you put into it.
That's good. Wow. Wow, mom. Wow. Wow. That is powerful and it is so true.
And I'm emotional.
She's always emotional.
Yeah,
Jesus.
she's been like that forever. That's what made me
Oh
love
my.
Bridget.
Oh.
I've been loving Bridget since I was in the ninth grade.
That's my mommy. That's
I
my
mean, the
mom.
crazy thing is, she's older than I am, but she had this personality when I was growing up. Like, we never were in the same things, but I knew her. You know what I'm saying? I knew her.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and I would be honest enough to say I did a lot of stuff in school, a lot of stuff. But regardless of whether or not if Bridget wasn't in the band or she didn't do all this, she stood out to the point where I knew her. So she's always, she didn't have to be the biggest, person in the room or the loudest person in the room, but I knew who she was. And when she first started presenting her stuff online, I felt the need to take the time and inbox her and say, hey, I'm gonna need you to stop presenting that stuff in them floor pans.
Come on. Look.
I knew it good.
She said, if you
Look.
had
And
at a barbecue
I came
outside,
to Atlanta. I said, hey, meet me at the restaurant. It was me and a couple other chefs. Meet me at the restaurant. Bridget, take a moment of your life
Come
and
on.
get them 18 months behind you.
Mm. Mm.
The same time you spend talking about it, it'll be over before you know it.
Come on here.
The first
Oh,
time I
that's
see
good.
first time I saw her don that white coat, I was like, I did that.
That's my baby, my big baby.
I did that. I'm so proud of you. Yes.
Oh, look, and she dragged me with her. I was supposed to help her at the orientation, and next thing you know, I ended up signing up with her.
Hey,
You have made a huge impact on who a pinch of bliss
I
is.
talk about you all the time.
She does.
well,
Literally, like you are the perfect person for our very first interview.
thank you.
Because I mean, it's rare. This is a cutthroat industry.
It is. Bridget,
People
don't be crying. You gonna have me over here boohooing, girl. I put some mascara on tonight.
look, and I ain't got no look. My tissue box is empty too. It's empty.
I was trying to tell my friend the story when I called you the other day, and I was telling him about how we met at the restaurant, and I got teary eyed. I was so glad to get off the phone, and he was like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "Oh, nothing. I'm having flashbacks."
But I mean, the way that you pour into people, because we've had people pretend like they were allies, in this industry, and so it's a dog eat dog. People be
Oh,
out
you
for
don't have
self.
to look. You don't have to tell me. I have a chef here that I admired when I first started. I used to see his work and it was just over the top amazing.
Mm.
And I would reach out, I would send him messages, if I could just come and work under you and just kind of gain some experience. And he would somewhat entertain me, but
Mm.
not entertain me. And
Yeah,
eventually, as I started to rise among the ranks and I started to reach out, because now in my head, I can compete with you.
come
But I
on.
still want to learn from you.
Yes.
And at that point, he just would give me the cold shoulder, would not entertain me. He needed some help. And a girl that worked for me that had worked for him said, "Hey, I have somebody that wants to, work. She'll come work for you." And the minute she told him who I was, she called me and she said, "Girl, he was shook when I mentioned your name." And I said, "Why?" I said, "Because I love his work." She said, "I think you're a little too big for him. I think that you're a little too challenging for him." She said, "That's the impression I got." She said, "So keep doing what you're doing."
Wow.
If you
Wow.
hashtag Diary of a White Plate, you will see multiple creations.
Mm.
Multiple. She would get ingredients out and just reimagine them. And the next thing you know, she has Picasso on the plate.
Come on. Come on. Come on. And I absolutely love that. Those of you who are watching, make sure you're commenting down. We want to hear from you, especially those of you who are watching on YouTube, those who are listening on the podcast. We want to hear from you. It's important, if you're in this industry, to have a mentor, someone that you can listen to, someone that you can hear constructive criticism from. But even if in your area there's not someone willing to take you under, don't stop pushing. Get the
Right,
education from anywhere you can,
right,
if that's going to school or by any means necessary. Keep pushing. But
right.
this has been incredible. Chef Lindsay the Dutchess. If anybody here wants to learn more about you, want to connect with you, want to follow you, please take this opportunity. I'm going to put you fully on the screen and just tell people how they can reach you and get more of Chef Lindsay.
Okay, great. Well, you can get more of me. You can follow me at I am underscore Chef Lindsay, and that is Lindsay with an E. I'm on Twitter. I am Chef Lindsay. I'm on Facebook, Lindsay Caters and Company. I'm also, my website is lindsaycatersco.com. And you can always reach out to me if you have questions. You can email me at lindsaykaters@gmail.com, or you can reach me at 281-406-0798. Thank you guys for having me.
Woo-hoo! Thank you for coming. I mean, this has been amazing and
Y'all
great
need to
dialogue.
have y'all need to have some music at the end. Like started from the bottom, now we're here.
Come on. Hey, hey, hey. I know that's right. So,
Right.
Mom, I'm going to let you say, oh, gosh.
She done got teary eyed over there. Bridget, don't be all emotional on me now. You know I got to keep a hard face. This cement over here.
Oh,
This is
and such
face of
a gorgeous face it is,
well,
period.
thank you. I'm trying to
You know,
age
you have
backwards.
always been such a really big deal to me.
Thank you,
Even before you
Bridget.
became chef, you were a big deal to me. I've always admired you. Everything you've done since I've known you, you've done it in a spirit of excellence.
Yes.
You were the best drum major that my school ever had.
Thank you.
And now you are the best entrepreneur that I know.
Oh,
And
and quick note, real quick note. Speaking on that, so when you're a drum major in high school, at least at my school, you can't try out until you're in the 11th grade.
Mm.
I wanted to defy all odds. I tried out in the 10th grade, and I
Mm.
made it in the 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade.
Wow. So any of your goals, you crush them.
Right.
were
Never
you the
wanted to
first
do what the
female?
average. No, I wasn't the first female, the first 10th grader to do it. Mr. White said that they didn't have 10th graders. And my
Wow.
mother said, well, she can still try out. Either she can or she can't. And so I've never wanted to do anything that everybody else did. So hence the reason why I played saxophone. I want to do something that was different from everybody else.
Come on here. Come on here. Come on, Mama. Dry your
Get it,
eyes.
get it together. Get it together, Bridget. Get it together. Get it
I
together.
am. And when Brittany was trying to line up people who have poured into me, you were the first person that she said, Mom, do you think we can get Chef? I said, oh,
That
I
is
don't
not a
know.
never. That's never a thought. That's always a yes.
I said, either she running something home, she got something in Texas going on, or she traveling. I said, I don't know. And I said, she kind of private, so I don't know if she'll do an interview. And she said, well, Mama, just reach out and ask her. I said, and I
I
did.
literally just got back from Peru.
Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. That's incredible.
I'm trying to get back on the time. I'm really trying to get back on the time.
Yay! Well, we are going to honor that time. Look, we did go over, but it was worth every
I enjoyed
second.
every moment of it. Thank
Oh
you.
my goodness. I
I
am
got
so excited for our viewers to
Yeah.
hear your wisdom, hear your passion. It's incredible. And we thank you again for joining a pinch of Bliss TV.
well, thank you. You hear our song in the back?
Hey,
From the bottom down, the whole team here.
Not a whole team here.
come on, come on. That's what I'm talking about.
It's been a pleasure, ladies. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this.
Yes, awesome. All right, guys, you heard it from Chef Lindsay, the Duchess. Yes, yes, yes. And until next time,
Remember, babies, we do flavor over here.
bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.